the deeps.
Yo, what is up everyone? It's Mini TV here coming at you with another video. Today, I wanted to do a video on this hero particularly because good friends, Liquid, they've been playing it a lot. To be fair, not with the greatest success unfortunately in the Mega League, but I know it's a hero that Boxy really loves to play, and I think it's actually kind of the unsung hero, or the kind of, it's going under the radar. Obviously you've got a lot of the offlaners that I've done a few videos for. Darkseer, if you didn't check that out, I've got a little video link up below. Click that if you want to see the Darkseer one. Obviously Doom and Underlord have been good for a while, but really the hero I'm doing today, because I think it is really strong but just we haven't seen teams really utilize it yet, is Slardar. Now this hero I think is incredibly strong. Got some buffs recently in the last patch. 27B, higher ulti, negative armor, so Roche is a lot better, and a few kind of other things, small things as well. So overall, I think the hero is actually pretty strong. And without further ado, guys, let's jump into it. So guys, this was the game. As I just sweet, cool. So this was the game. I actually had the privilege and the honor of actually getting last pick. This game doesn't normally happen as the offlaner. Normally you get in the second phase alongside the carry, and then the mid gets last pick. But our mid actually first picked his hero, so it gave me the opportunity to pick Slardar. We were kind of in need of a bit more lockdown. We had obviously Rubik and CM, not the most lockdown, and Slardar in itself isn't the most amount of lockdown either, but it does add an extra little bit of something. Strong laner. I had seen Kotl, who's quite a weak laner unless paired with a strong core that can utilize the mana, and in this case Morphling can't really. I want to kind of show how strong this hero can be. They had then shown the Morphling and the Pugna, and I think in this lane and in this particular video, you'll see how easily it is to actually abuse a Morphling in the early levels, particularly with a hero who is a strong laner like Slardar. Obviously, Slardar normally really strong against melee heroes, but with a hero like Morphling, who has low range, you can kind of abuse the same kind of similar sort of tactics as well. So just quickly talking about the item builds here, I think this is kind of standard for most melee offlaners now. The Ring of Protection is just really extra useful, particularly against two ranged heroes, and the extra armor is useful, plus then having regen, and then building into boots, because you need mobility a lot on this hero, and then into bracer. So one good thing here is actually we can't take abuse of the weakness of their level 1 bounty, taking potential here. We end up kind of going on the Kotl, and then we actually end up turning on the Morphling as well, because we have the rotation from both the Rubik and the Morphling. And this is just kind of I've talked about this so many times about bounty rune engagements, that the level 1 bounty rune engagements, they're so really important, and also they can be so detrimental to particularly the safe laners if they don't realize whether they can contest bounty runes or not. Obviously in this case, and it wasn't particularly too we didn't invest too much really. We just brought over the mid a little bit, so he missed his block, and then we had the CM who was able to just rotate bot down. But just from that one play, we got first blood, and we forced out both the TPs from both the Kotl and the Morphling. So if we kill these now in the next minute, it's going to be absolutely detrimental and disastrous for them. So starting off with obviously level 1 Slithering Crush, it goes back to really me wanting to use that more so in the bounty rune engagement. The stun's a lot more useful than the bash. If I wasn't fighting for the bounty runes, probably that the bash is a little bit better. You'll see here I end up sort of hitting the Morphling and the Kotl so many times, and if I had the bash, it would just be really extra value here. But in the end, the Crush is just good to secure range creeps as well. Don't really need to secure range creep too much because I have a Rubik on my team here. But in scenarios like this, I'm trying to bait the range creep, so I'm getting a lot of hits on the Morphling here, and I carry on hitting him. If I had the bash, passive bash, I would have killed him by now basically. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, so obviously pretty standard stuff for the most part. I'm just trying to get my levels, and I'm also trying to get the lane back a little bit, because if the lane is back here, we can really abuse this Morph Kotl combination, because they're very weak here. And obviously we need to be kind of a little bit careful. They have level 2 over us, so I'm going to be sitting CSing on the tower. while I want the Rubik to kind of stop them from pulling, which he does, which I am very thankful for. And now I'm level 2. It's very difficult really for the Morphling to walk up. He's low HP anyway. And just by having the right lane control, you know, I'm going to get all this CS on the tower, and he's missing all this sort of CS here, as I miss that deny CS lol. Rubik's going to kind of play with them too, but he has boots as well, so he's in no danger, and I'm just going to have to get a full wave on the tower now. So I brought over the Bracer. Maybe in hindsight could have got the boots as well. Some more CS lull on the tower as well. Mate, the new tower like changes. It still messes with my head, but anyway, so like now we see Morphling walk up. You know, he's wanting to get some CS, and we instantly just kind of run at him because we know that he's very weak at level 2. I had Bash's preps, and we instantly kind of kill him. So simple as that, really. I think Cottle did the right thing in tying the pool here, but Morphling, you know, was kind of greedy, wanted to walk up for the creep wave, and gets punished as a result for it. And now, obviously, with that kill as well, I'm going to have boots, so next engagement is going to be even better, because I have the Bracer, as well as the boots, so I can chase down the Morphling. But Morphling is very slow anyway, 280 versus 300, as Rubik gets a decent half pull-off here as well. So you're sort of seeing like the importance, really, particularly just in this video in this one lane, how important creep kind of equilibrium is so important, particularly on a hero like Morphling, that if he's out of position, you know, he can easily die here. We're level 3 as well, so we have a level advantage over him, so we're just going to walk down anyone we can. My boots unfortunately aren't with me yet, and Cottle's obviously a lot faster, but I have boots coming, and I'm going to kind of trade my courier for his life, which is definitely worth it on my part. I get my boots anyway. Yeah, and so, you know, in some lanes it's not as punishing having the creep equilibrium, but it was this close to my tower as the offlane's perspective. But in a lane like this, where it's, you know, Morphling versus a Slardar, it's a decent matchup for me anyway, because if he starts morphing strength, then obviously he loses a lot of his armor, and if he keeps kind of low health, then even though will have a high armor, the bash does damage on its own, even if it is physical damage. So, you know, and with obviously Cottle dying, we can just kind of really pressure this Morphling here as well. It's a small note as well, I just want to mention it because it is important, not only on playing Slardar, but any hero really, in terms of how tower aggro and tower mechanics work here. So we've obviously pushed the wave in. It's, you know, walking under Morphling's tower. You know, if I back off here, he can see us this quite easily, but instead I sort of chase him on the tower. I get out about 500 range, and then I can attack him. If I attacked him or right-clicked, attacked him like inside the tower aggro, then the tower would start attacking me. Because I walk outside the 500 aggro range, I can then attack him, I can start prepping my bashes, and in this case, I'm going to right-click him here, I'm going to draw aggro on the tower, but by the time it matters, he's already dead. So, you know, I drew tower aggro for a little bit, but it didn't matter because it was too late by then already. So Cottle will sort of walk back to base now. I'll walk back to the lane after we kill him. He didn't have a TP before, and now we're going to pressure the Cottle as well. And he's gonna die, simply. And just like that, you know, this is how we kind of just absolutely dominate the lane. I'm kind of lacking mana here. It does help that I have a CM in my lane bottom. And just so you know as well, my bot lane is getting destroyed as well, so it is kind of an even game. Both offlaners are kind of destroying, but the good thing about our safe lane is that we have TB that can jungle at level 4 quite handily, whereas Morphling is kind of stuck in his lane. As you can see, he's trying to block the wave, because if he can see us under tower, like, you know, Morphling is one of the strongest laners because he has very high attack damage. He's going to just out deny me every time. But if we have good creep equilibrium, you know, Morphling really can't do anything. And as you can see, he's sitting under tower and quite upset that he can't attack and hit creeps. And Cottle can't do much in this lane either because he's just going to feed. So as a result, you know, Morphling is just really sad altogether, really. Doesn't have Morbid Mask either, so he's not really in a position to sort of jungle effectively. Well, I'm just going to sit back here and get every single CS, and I don't miss any, of course, because I'm just, you know, amazing. Kappa pride. So obviously now, you know, it's been like 30 seconds, maybe a minute now, where Morphling hasn't come up to contest the wave. And As a result, you know, Rubik's been kind of messing with him in the pool, so he can't pull. So as a result, your Morphling is starting to jungle, as we know. And in the meantime, obviously, Rubik's going to try and be useful and help elsewhere on the map, maybe take mid if Zeus is not there. And because I have the catapult, I'm going to start pressuring top. Because I have level 6 now, so even if Morphling does try to walk back into the wave, having level 6 is going to be too dangerous for him to really set up. So quickly talking about the skill build. Skill build's pretty simple, really. For the first sort of 6-7 levels, you're just maxing Bash of the Deep, getting 1 point in the sprint, and then 1 point in this crush. Level 1 crush isn't very value. Unfortunately, it's not a great level 1 skill. Like, it's pretty low damage, a very small stun duration. But you really need that 1 point in Guardian Sprint because you really struggle to close the gap in the laning stage without Blink. So you really do need it, even if you would want more points in stun, because it does scale quite nicely. But obviously Morphling can't come to the lane. As I said, I've got treads now as well, which I think is definitely your go-to boots. You do benefit a lot from the attack speed because of obviously the way your bashes work, as my Zeus gets a double kill mid and I'm just kind of pushing out top. I could be TPing mid, but it's not really needed. So yeah, just quickly talking about, you can go phase boots. I personally don't like it. Just whenever you get a chance that you're a strength hero that benefits from attack speed, which in this case I do, treads is always nice. The phase boots can be really useful. Just simply, I kind of dive here a little bit, really just try and force a reaction. In this case, I know Cot will stop as well, and I'm happy to just kind of back off. I wouldn't be able to kill the Morphling under a tier 2 anyway, because he's level 5 now, but as a result, force a reaction, and then look to kind of pressure elsewhere on the map. Pugna being a little speedy boy, cannot catch him either. So I'm just going to start playing bot now. But I just want to quickly finish the point about the phase boots here. Phase boots is great for the lane, because like I said, sometimes you do lack the ability to close the gap, even with level 1 in Guardian Sprint, and the phase boots really does help with that. But outside the laning phase is when you start to suffer, because the attack speed is better for farming. It's better to get more points in the bashes, and not only that as well, but having the extra kind of strength, it's really useful, because you're going to be kind of an initiating kind of hero, and having more just HP is useful. You don't necessarily need the armor. You have decent armor anyway, so it's rather to have the strength than anything else. So I'm kind of baiting here. We saw the Storm bot, and I know that my Zeus is going to rotate in. I have a high stick, and as a result we end up kind of getting a decent kind of rebuttal here. And I'm kind of playing on the edges. It's a small thing as well, but and it happens so quickly, but it's important to note kind of how this team fight kind of plays out. So obviously they initiate on me, I get kind of low, but instead of just me immediately kind of backing off, I'm kind of waiting in the wings and I'm letting my Zeus tank, which sounds strange, but obviously Zeus is not a typical frontliner, but when he has full HP and a lot of spells already being used, I can allow him to take damage while I'm kind of playing in the back, looking for an opportunity to reinitiate and re-go here. In the case I do get a stun off here, they're all very low, and with Zeus ulti we end up kind of wiping threes. Storm lives on like 20 HP, but a 3-for-1 with the offlaner dying as well is a trade that I am okay with giving up. And again, if I had the phase boots here, I would have died well earlier before them, because it was all dead. So I'm just kind of looking to position myself where, first of all, I've gone drums, which is definitely not necessary for the most part, as there's kind of constant fighting and brawling. And when you get the opportunity, particularly if the T1 tower has already been taken, playing around mid really does benefit because of the benefit you get from Guardian Sprint. Obviously it's max speed whilst in the river, so it's a lot of value. If you play in the side lanes, you're not near the river, whereas mid you can kind of push out waves, farm jungle, and look for aggression if it's nearby, as we sort of see here. Lots and lots of brawling and kind of playing mid. Ideally, I would have liked my Zeus to play bottom and push out bot, because instead we kind of give up a T1 tower while we were kind of faffing about mid. But I'm kind of playing the right area of the map, so I'm going to just let my team do whatever they want to do as a result. kind of, we saw the Earthshaker try and walk in an Echo, which it feels like when this happened, I really thought this was quite a low-B game, but I assure you it's not. But it just kind of feels weird here. And then when the Earthshaker walks in and gets a 3-man Echo, it definitely felt like a bit of a weird game. But when Rubik stole the Echo, like kind of a decent trade, but then CM ends up kind of walking in and feeding for no reason. But we get some kind of pressure on the tower. But yeah, anyway, going back to the item build here, as I get another point in sprint, I like to get maybe 2 or 3 points in sprint, just because it really does, really rank up in terms of pressure. As Zeus gets gone on mid, as I showed bottom, because I kind of want to just start following up my blink really, because without it, as you sort of saw, the engagement happened mid, where it's very hard for me to kind of close the gap without a blink dagger, and without kind of a way of initiating, it's hard to just walk down mid and take tower, even if we have meta on the TB. So yeah, just quick item drums. I mean, it's such a good item at the moment. It's very meta. Great stats, movement speed, the attack speed bonus as well when you use it, as well as the movement speed bonus. More stats and also mana regeneration as well. It helps that I have a CM, but normally I wouldn't have a CM, and you do kind of suffer with mana a little bit, particularly because Guardian Sprint is no longer mana free. So definitely would recommend the drums. So now I'm just kind of sitting back trying to farm my blink, because without it we have no real form of initiation, and we don't have the greatest push, and they have very good D push, so they're very easily to kind of rebuttal any kind of push we decide to make. So I'm just kind of trying to farm up my blink before I make any plays. Exception is when Earthshaker shows top. This is the dead lane for a reason. No T1 tower, all by himself. He shows he's just gonna feed, and I'm more than happy to TP out, seeing as I was playing my own dead lane for a little bit. So I'm close to blink. I'm just going to be, again, trying to play around mid as much as possible, particularly when there's towers to be defended, because of the use of Guardian Sprint. And now I've got 3 points in sprint, I want to start maxing out my crush. And obviously, a good part about playing mid as well is I can connect to any lanes that do get gone on. As Zeus gets gone on, we end up kind of trading the Kotl here. Not the greatest trade, but again, showing the danger of sitting in your own safe lane. Storm had used a lot of mana, so I was happy to sort of push out one more wave. Again, try and play greedy until I hit my blink timing as much as possible. So, just quickly as well, obviously, it looks like a bit of a weird build where I put 3 points in Guardian Sprint and left 1 point Sliving Crush, but I kind of want to really time my Blink Dagger with my Max Crush, as my TB ends up dying as well, because he didn't wait for my blink, but he comes just in time, get it from the courier, and we end up kind of killing we're kind of wiping up the team fight. So just a little bit of over-aggression from the TB, wanting to push mid before I had my blink. But I got it now, and now you can sort of see how easy it is to take team fights and objectives in general. But yeah, just going back to the point, I want to kind of time my Max Crush with the timing of my Blink Dagger. And obviously you're sort of seeing the pressure I can put on with the Blink Dagger. As anyone who sort of shows in the vicinity, I'm just going to jump on them and they're going to die, because we have great follow-up damage and control with the Rubik and the Zeus. But yeah, obviously, before I get my Blink Dagger, having level 1 crush is fine, because I'm not going to really be able to utilize it effectively, because I don't have that kind of gap closing potential. As I know Storm was looking to be bot, and I was very low, so I didn't want to show on the lane. So I'm 12 now. I've nearly got max out crush as well. I end up putting my talent at level 13 here, I think, into the health regen, and it's just a small thing, but 20 damage is a lot. I think both talents on level 10 are very strong. Obviously, in this case, I ended up delaying getting them. And it was more so because I just wanted to have the mobility of the sprint. And knowing that I was very close to Blink Dagger as well, I didn't want to have any less points in the crush than I had already done. But with the 6 health regen, I have like 17 HP regen, and it's so easy to always be on the map. As I'm kind of waiting here to get my blink back up, because I don't know who else is there, but we end up killing him anyway with some rotations. CM survives with the Shadow Amulet. But yeah, and so I mean, I think in this game it's even better, the health regen, because of I have a CM. So I have, lots of mana regen, and now with the talent I have lots of health regen, and as a result it really kind of just maximizes me playing on the map. It's a small thing that Secret do a great job of, particularly with Zion the offlane. He actually prioritizes bot on a lot of heroes just so he can kind of really maximize his presence on the map. And I think in this meta where you're either always looking to fight or always looking to farm or really kind of get map control, anytime that you walk back to base is the moment you start losing map control for your team. So having the 6 health regen, I can hit I can hit camps quite effectively without like being wary that I'm like half HP before going into a fight. And with this health regen, it just makes a big difference. And as a result, we kind of do it here. Kind of a misblink timing there, and ends up kind of costing us the storm kill, but we're still so strong. And as a result, it ends up working. We kind of kill the back lines, and we kind of kill both the supports. Kind of small thing that I probably should have mentioned as well, and whenever you get the opportunity to take Roche, it's definitely the time you should do it, because you take it so quickly with Slardar. The moment we immediately kill Kotl and Earthshaker, we should start walking into Roche. Storm has no mana, supports are still dead. Instead, we kind of delay, try and push a tier 2 tower that is really not that important. It does open up the outpost, which is something. But with Kotl and Earthshaker already coming back, as well as the Fortify, we end up kind of giving up the advantage we had and not really utilising the one team fight, killing the Kotl and the Earthshaker, and they end up defending the tier 2. So a little bit of kind of slow decision making ends up kind of not working out for us. Obviously, we lose the Rubik as well. But we're still in a good position, 4k up. I'm building into a BKB as well, and with Storm zipping in and stunning an illusion, he's going to end up paying as a result of it. And again, like the health regen, just always kind of paying off. I'm always kind of playing these outskirts of the team fights, looking to sort of blink back in, stun, kind of like a tiny in that aspect, and obviously trying to amp anyone that is is within range, basically. Like in this case, it's the Slardar. It gets close to killing me again. The health regen talent kind of paying off really in the long run. Obviously, 20 damage, very, very useful, but you got to realise that you're not really like a carry as Slardar. You're more of an initiator, kind of pseudo frontliner as well, particularly with the items I've got and the items I'm going. 2.5k HP, drums, building towards a BKB as well. I just want to be an annoyance and a nuisance in the team fights, and anything that can help me do that, it's going to help. And the same goes for the 15 talent as well. The 275 health instead of the bash damage. I'm here to frontline it and be that kind of first one in, last one out kind of mentality. So building towards BKB as well. I sort of see this sometimes. Like sometimes I think you can get away with going Ags before the BKB, but particularly in this game where they have so much stun and so much control, a BKB is just far too valuable as well. And with that BKB, I have 10 seconds of just full immunity where I can just run down and target a hero and just stay on top of them and kill him. Bit of an aggressive move by me, really. I sort of saw the Kotl, and I knew the Storm was there as well, but when they sort of rotate the Earthshaker, Morphling, and the Pugna, far too over-aggressive, and as a result I get punished for it. And I mean that's just completely on my fault, really. Don't really want to be down here because of the dead lane, really, I mean the reason why I made that play is I'm a noob, basically. I was gonna try and get away with it, saying that we didn't have meta, so I thought I could maybe try and delay with a kill on the enemy team, but we had meta and I'm just bad, basically. So end up kind of trading out tier 2s as a result because of that play. And I mean, if I had BKB, that fight would have been better. And if it was a different position 5, I probably would have killed him because I wouldn't have missed my bashes. But regardless, misplays happen and get punished for it as a result. So, but I mean, the start of the game is still going good. For the most part, I kind of want to get my BKB, because when I get BKB, I'm practically invulnerable. And for the team fights, I can, I have such free reign altogether. and probably in this team fight, I'm looking to kind of focus one particular target, and in this case, it's either going to be the Morphling or the Storm Spirit, because if I kind of stick on top of them, they're going to be forced to kind of back out because they can't man up against me with my BKB. I'm just too strong with my bashes and with the amp damage. Like negative 15 armor, that's so much this early on. Good use of smoke there. Just instantly break it, and as a result, kind of get paid for again a missed kind of blink on the Pugna. But you know, luckily we have the team behind me, and we end up kind of killing the Pugna anyway. So not too bad. But this is the kind of the play we should have made a couple of minutes earlier when we made that team fight. This time we make the right decision. Immediately walk into Roche, and just keep in mind, obviously, wait for someone on your team to break the Lincolns, and then you can use amp. Or the corrosive haze. I keep calling it amp because it used to be called amplify damage, but the corrosive haze just makes a big difference, obviously, and allows you to take Roche a lot quicker. And the enemy team aren't going to look to walk into us, seeing as they're 4 versus 5. And we see the Earthshaker. Earthshaker is really the biggest threat, really. A big Echo Slam could be dangerous, but we saw him anyway, so we're not too big of a problem. So now, obviously, meta's been down, being used. I kind of just want to sit back, farm my BKB. I'm about 400 gold away from it, and then we can look to take any fight. But obviously, we see Kotl here, and if we see free kills and free stuff, obviously, always looking to take it. Better blink this time, and we end up catching him and killing him. Simple as that. So yeah, so just keep in mind, like, you know, I'm farming with a purpose. You know, I'm not just sort of sitting back like, oh, you know, I'm an Enigma or I'm like a real late game kind of stage offlaner that, you know, wherever happens, you know, the later the game goes, the better it is. Kind of in some ways similar to sort of Doom, where you have this passive farming component where, you know, the later the game goes on, it's always going to be in your favor because you either have great late game or you have a good farming mechanism. In this case, Slardar can scale well. Obviously, the corrosive haze is great against any kind of team fight. You know, any carry would love to have that. But also, it's great for Roshan. But you know, I'm always looking for opportunities to fight. And if I am farming, it's farming with a purpose. I'm farming for that blink dagger. I'm farming for that BKB in this case. When I get it, that's when we're looking to fight immediately. I'm not just sort of going Midas. I'm not just farming for farming's sake, you know. And I think it's something that's really, really important. You know, I'm farming this wave, I'm farming this camp so I can get this item. And I see it so many times where people are just farming because it's just autopilot. And, you know, whenever you play autopilot on Dota, it's just very, very bad, and bad things will happen. So I've BKB now. All the outer towers are taken, and I've talked about this in other videos as well. We're starting to eventually take the rest of our safe lane tier 1 towers, and we only do this when we have Roshan and we have Aegis and top's being pushed in, and we have an illusion from TB mid as well, so that's going to get pushed out eventually. So because of this, now we can just group up and push bot, and the other team have to either give up the towers, which we, you know, get a free advantage for get a good objective for free, or they look to fight us. But with, you know, we have Aegis and we have my BKB now as well. So they're pretty crazy if they try and fight, but in this case they do. I end up kind of just manaing up immediately on both the Pugna and the Storm Spirit, and with my BKB I'm just going to focus on the Storm, and he just dies immediately. We lose the Tear Blade, but we had the Aegis. I kind of dive a bit deep, and I end up getting kind of caught out, but we end up killing the Earthshaker. So it's a 4-for-1. I think maybe my Rubik could have played a bit more aggressive, but he didn't have Blink, so we'll forgive him. But yeah, and as simple as that, you know, it's all very methodical, or it should be, particularly with Slardar. It's very simple and it's very easy to play Slardar, and play Dota with Slardar because of the ease of execution in terms of taking Roshan. Like, so many times, you know, games are thrown because of Roshan, but when you take it so quickly with Corrosive Haze, it makes things so much simpler. Get Aegis, group as 5, and go from there. Obviously, I probably shouldn't have died, because if I hadn't have died, we could have probably walked up high ground. But with me dead, you know, it's 4 versus 4, about to be 4 versus 5, so they end up just kind of backing up and giving up the tower. So right now, like, we're in a really good position, but we do need to be wary because of the fact that we have just used meta and we no longer have Aegis. So if there is a time for the enemy team to kind of bring this game back and fight, it is now, basically. So we need to be on the lookout for any kind of engagement. You know, we don't want to getting caught out by anyone or anything. And just to say that CM gets caught out and dies, and this kind of spirals a little bit because now we have 45 seconds, you know, even longer, where we have to be careful because we're no longer as strong because we're not as 5. They immediately smoke, so good play from them. You know, this is something that we were talking about as a team. We just wasn't really, we didn't give it as much respect as it should have been. That's why I start running top, because I know they could be together. It was a good smoke, really, because I expected them to come from the north, not from the south below us. They smoke in. Again, it's the right thing for them to do. See them as dead. They still have no meta, so any fight they can take, any fight they see is a good fight from them. I'm looking to kind of play around and playing up here. Instead, it was probably the worst person that gets caught. TB gets caught, has no BKB yet, doesn't get a chance to get meta off, and as a result immediately dies. So good play from the enemy team, you know, the only thing we could have done probably is just be more clumped up. Rubik wasn't with us there. We weren't on the high ground either, and as a result, I have to sort of waste my BKB because I don't want to fight here and die. So I give up the Rubik as well. And this is just something important to note as well, because this can be applied to your games. You know, we had just taken the tower, we were like 8-9k up, and just with that, we really get effectively team wipes, really. And as a result, they swing it back not into their favour, but it gives them hope, and as simple as that. You see it so many times in pro games where, you know, the enemy team smokes, or the enemy team realizes that the enemy team are smoking, and they, you know, sit on a high ground, sit on the triangle, whether it's the Radiant Triangle or the Dire Triangle, and they look to stop the smoke from really occurring or happening. In this case, it worked out for them, and you sort of see that the damage it happened here. Just a small engagement here, something small to note. I know, obviously, so this is the engagement top when they caught us out. But immediately you sort of see what I try and do. So I immediately run bottom. I know that they first need to deal with their wave top, and they are in our triangle. So there's no really way they can get to me unless they TP here, as well as a rotation from the storm straight away. I don't see them. Like, if you see my player perspective, I don't know if they either are smoking again. If you sort of see here, we see the Earthshaker, but that's all I see. Don't know if they're smoking with the Storm or anyone else. So I push out that wave, immediately blink and go for the next one, which is a kind of a pretty good play, if I don't say so myself, because I want bot lane to be pushed in. So if they are rotating to kill me, you know, them killing me here is a lot harder than them killing me down here, and it gives me more time to wait and see. In this case, I think I see the Storm or someone else, and as a result, I know I can get this creep wave here, and it's a small thing, but I blink out and blink back to base. So this bot lane is still getting pushed in. It just made the enemy team a lot harder for them to kill me because of that. So quickly talking about items as well, I'm going and building into Ags, which I think is a must on this hero. Great kind of initiation tool. You blink in, you crush, and it gives you loads of different bonuses in terms of status resist, in terms of regen, and movement speed as well, because you're in the river, because it creates a puddle here. I'm sitting behind my CM, and I know he's going to get jumped because I know they're in this area, and as a result, with my strength and with the attack speed, you know, and the bashes, he's going to end up dying. And this is just a small play as well. Like, the game is a lot easier really after where eventually it's 5 here, but a small thing that I don't see a lot of tutorials or videos or educational content talk about is protecting vision and protecting wards. This is something that RTZ stressed so much whenever he was streaming. And I remember he had a massive argument about with some offlane player who center or something that didn't understand, because, you know, protecting vision is what you need to be doing. And this little play here, you know, this ward needs to die. We've just seen them. We had just smoked. So we had just scanned on them. So I know that they're here and they're in this area, and it's obvious that they're going to jump this CM. So I stand behind him. Obviously, don't get the blink stun. But with the amp damage and the bashes, it's enough to kill the Storm because he's very low on armor, only 10 armor. And obviously with the Corrosive Haze, brings it to well below negative, and I'm able to basically solo the Storm because he was trying to finish off the CM. So it's a small play, but it makes a big difference. Say 5 or 10 seconds before CM goes to deball that wall, I go start running down bot or farm this hard camp here. CM dies, again, then we're delayed because we're 4 versus 5. If Rosh is up, we lose Roshan, and again, the game kind of spirals back into their favour because 1 kill can mean so much more than just the gold it provides. Because now we've killed the Storm, we get to run, we go and catch this Kotl as well, and it's kind of this snowball potential that 1 kill, particularly in the mid to late game, can really snowball in and mean so much more than the original kill you get. So 1 kill can mean huge amounts, and it's really important to know that. Unfortunately, TB actually used meta for that kill on the Storm. As a result, we still have to kind of wait and delay because without meta on TB, we're kind of weak. So again, just kind of pushing out waves. That's why waves are so important. It delays the game. And doesn't give the enemy the opportunity to fight if we need to. This time we've kind of done a better job. They're not showing on side lanes. We're grouping up on our triangle. So if the enemy team does smoke, we can respond to it. Meta is now back available, and immediately we look to fight and kind of stamp on the advantage we can kind of get. Any jump we can is perfect because we know they're split up. Storm is top, shown on the wave. And we catch the Pugna here, and obviously with 1 dead, we're looking to catch any more if we can. Unfortunately can't, no net. 4 staff saves the Morphling. And just like that now, we're just going to wait for Aegis or push in and sort of see if we can force any kind of rotation or reaction, maybe a buyback from Pugna, seeing as we're 4 versus 5. We have meta now as well, so we can kind of pressure the tower, maybe force a fortify. We want to get something, because I don't think Rosh is up just yet. It is up, but we are noobs. I end up jumping because I know that Storm's top, and any kind of jump is, because then it's just great for us. We're 4 versus 5 or 3 versus 5, seeing as Storm is top. Has low mana as well, so they can't react to it, and the jump works out for us. They use Fortify as well as the buyback, but with Morphling dead, we're able to kind of carry on the fight and carry on the jump. Always important to kind of protect your backlines, particularly against a hero like Storm. He ends up using all his mana and ends up getting kind of wrecked as a result. And with that, we don't even need Rosh. We can kind of just walk down the lanes basically. And obviously with the Ags now as well, I'm looking to kind of use Crush whenever I can, because it just gives me great, like 56 HP regen plus status resist. Very, very difficult for me to die with this. And obviously with the Zeus, I can jump on anyone, anywhere, anytime basically. And so that's kind of a large majority of this game. Obviously we end up kind of taking most of the racks, and we end up kind of taking the bot set as well, and then we end up taking Roche as well after. A few more kills are just fed to us. But yeah, just keep in mind, really, I think there's we end up trying to fight here, and we end up kind of getting picked off because we're trying to fight when we're not really. We don't have the means to really. We don't have meta. I end up dying as well, and again, this kind of delays the game because it's not the most cleanest of Dota. But I end up buying back, and they end up killing Morphling, so kind of works out in the end. I end up kind of buying back. They commit so much. Storm had no mana, and Morphling was dead without buyback as well. So then we can just walk down mid. So yeah, that's the game for the most part, guys. I hope you did enjoy and learn something from it. I think it's just really important to try and abuse the strength of Slardar in lane and really snowball from that. Always be on the lookout for Roshan, and when you have the Blink Dagger, if you have a great ways of kind of following up on the initiation, the hero can be so incredibly strong, making sure you're amping the core target so that they can't man up. And that's one of the strongest things really about Corrosive Haze, is that heroes like Morphling normally can man up against anyone because of his attribute shift, but with negative 24 armor, he's gonna struggle to do that completely. So that was the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it, and we'll hope to see you in the next one as well. Leave a like and a comment and a subscribe if you want to see the next hero. Let me know what it is, and I am still available for coaching as well. So if you want any sort of one-to-one coaching, hit me up on either YouTube or the disc down below. But until then, guys, hope to see you in the next one. Keep on and grinding. Peace.
You're in deep water.